Hey, this is Mark with AFT Construction, and we are here at Project Worth the Wait, and we're going to take a look at some pavers being installed today. Exactly the ones that I'm sitting on right here, the 12 by 24 travertines. So let's go take a look in the backyard. So right before we head over to the backyard, we had two enormous piles of stuff here. One, the AB material, and then the other one is sand. This material, they build up between 4 and 5 inches, and this is compacted. It's wet down, compacted, level, and then on top of that we apply the sand, and this sand gets leveled out, and this is what the base of the paver sits on. So we can go take a look at that. So as we're walking down on the east side of the house here, you'll see that they've already started laying some of the AB material and getting that leveled out. This is going to get stepping stones, and this will lead up to the main patio area. And as you see, we go from the compacted AB material to the sand. The sand is leveled out, and then that's the base that the paver sits on. While we're here on the back patio, you can see that there's a lot of pavers already been installed here. There's areas that are actually going to be planters. So those areas do not get pavers. The landscape guys have already run their sleeves underground so they can supply irrigation to these planters. Once the pavers are all finished installing, they'll come and see the polymetric sand. That will get swept over the entire surface, and then they'll run their little vibrating machine to shake that sand in all of the joints, and that will hold all the pavers together tightly. In one of our earlier videos, you may have seen everything was going to be centered off of the patio doors, and as you can see, we have the fire pit and the pool in the background, and everything is centered right off of this patio, off the patio doors. That does have a little step down area that goes to the fire pit. We have columns that will get wrapped with the stone to match what's on the house. The fire pit also gets stone. We'll have limestone caps on top of the columns. We'll have limestone caps on top of the walls, and also on top of the fire pit. This little step down area, it leads into a square area over here that's going to have an outdoor dining seating area. And that will also have the little bistro lights strung up above, so that'll be a nice little area to sit in the evenings or on the cool days. So you'll notice we came down a couple steps here onto this level. We do have these built-in lights in the steps, so this area will be lit up at night, so there's no trip hazard on the steps. Every step we do, we put the step lights built in there. While we're standing in the southwest corner of the house and back here, and you can see behind me the vast amount of pavers we have installed. There's going to be just over 4,600 square feet total between back and front areas. And you know, one thing to consider when you're doing pavers, you got to make sure that ground is compacted. You got to make sure it's level where it needs to be level. You don't want any areas that are pooling water when it rains. And also you want to make sure that there's areas that do have a slight slope so it can take the water away from, you know, the main patio area. You want it to be draining into landscape. So that's one thing to consider, is just that slight little slope without it being visible. That way the water can run right off. So after the majority of the pavers are installed, we can get the landscape guys back in here, and they can start running the rest of their plants around the pavers, the areas that are, you know, up on the patio, the areas that are actual planting areas. The guys will come in and dig and run their irrigation and start planting the rest of their little bushes and trees and what have you. And we can also work on an area that has grass. Pavers are just kind of holding up the rest of the landscape right now, and we're getting real close to being able to continue with landscaping. So one thing that was brought up about these pavers, there's a difference. So if you can imagine just a standard house that has a pool and it has a cool deck, that's the stuff that you can walk on in the summertime and it doesn't get super hot. It is a light material, just like our pavers right here. It's a light material. This is not going to get as hot in the summertime, but one disadvantage is when the sun's gleaming down on this bright colored tile or paver, it's going to be a little hard on the eyes, so you definitely want to have your sunglasses on when the sun's beaming right off of this. So just a couple of little comparisons there. You know, lighter material stays cooler, but a little bit harder on your eyes. Well, thanks for joining us here at Project Worth the Wait. I am Mark with AFT Construction, and stay tuned for more content.